good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of Chancellor Albert Carnesale, who couldn't be here today, he's out of town, and the whole UCLA community, I'm pleased to welcome all of you. I want to extend a special welcome, a very special welcome to our featured speaker, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Shirin Ebadi. Ms. Ebadi will deliver the lecture, Islam, Democracy, and Human Rights, and we're very pleased and honored that she's here at UCLA. It really is a wonderful opportunity for all of us. Today's program is sponsored by the UCLA International Institute and its Ronald Burkle Center for International Relations and the Center for Near Eastern Studies. I want to commend Jeff Garrett, Vice Provost and Dean, who so kindly introduced me, for having the idea and being the instrument in promoting UCLA as a national leader for discourses on international issues and affairs. I also want to thank Ronald Burkle, whose generous support for the Burkle Center makes this Burkle Forum possible. UCLA has long been a forum for a considered, informed, and balanced approach to many issues of national and international significance. This presentation represents UCLA's ongoing commitment to providing a place, a space actually, an intellectual space, for the wide range of views on key international issues. Our ongoing objective is to bring a broad spectrum of viewpoints and discussions about the Middle East and other areas of the world to campus and to the larger Los Angeles community and beyond. Burkle Forum speakers are internationally distinguished and indeed renowned leaders in their fields of research and teaching. And certainly Shirin Ebadi is one such individual, and allow me to say a few words about her. She's the first Muslim woman and also the first Iranian to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, which she was awarded just last year in 2003 for her work on behalf of democracy and the rights of women and children in Iran. An attorney and human rights activist who served as one of the first female judges in her country in the 1970s, Ms. Ebadi is known for promoting peaceful democratic solutions to some of society's more serious problems. She is active in public debate and is renowned for defending the victims of attacks on political freedom and the freedom of speech by the ruling conservatives in Iran. Ms. Ebadi has served as the attorney for the families of writers and intellectuals murdered in 1999 and 2000, and she was also successful in revealing the principles behind the attack on the students at Tehran University in 1999, in which several students were injured and killed. Ms. Ebadi's legal work on behalf of the oppressed has put her also in personal jeopardy and has actually led to her imprisonment. She represents modern reformist Islam. She advocates religious freedom and argues for a new interpretation of Islamic law in harmony with vital human rights, such as equality before the law, democracy, and freedom of speech. Throughout her career, Ms. Ebadi has demonstrated her willingness and her ability to cooperate with representatives of both secular and religious views. An activist for refugee rights and those of women and children, Ms. Ebadi is the founder of and legal advisor for the Association for Support of Children's Rights in Iran. She has written extensively on human rights. Her works include The Rights of the Child, a study of legal aspects of children's rights in Iran. This was published in 1994. And History and Documentation of Human Rights in Iran, published in 2000. In her Nobel lecture, which she delivered in December 2003, she said, and here I quote, "If the 21st century wishes to free itself from the cycle of violence, there is no other way except by understanding and putting into practice every human right for all mankind, irrespective of race, gender, faith, nationality, or social status." Giving advice to a young human rights activist, she once said, "Have confidence, have courage, and know that if we work hard, our struggle will be victorious." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Nobel Peace Prize laureate Shirin Ebadi.
ریاست محترم دانشگاه
The respectful president of the university, colleagues and university professors and students and ladies and gentlemen and those who are present here today, I am very happy that today I am speaking to you from this dignified venue. The university is the main home and the true abode of all those who have placed spirituality and ideality at their motto, those who have dedicated themselves for humanity, individuals that their pride is not in their books, bank accounts, but the books that they have published, students that they have educated, they are proud for them, and not the materialistic aspects of the world. My other fortunate point is this, that I am in this beautiful and sunny Los Angeles city, a city that many nationalities from all over the world have placed in it. For example, also, and many of my countrymen and women in this city in California. And today I am present in this, your presence. I am witness being with many Iranians in California, and I'm very pleased with that. Respectful friends, today we are living in a world that compared to 10 years ago, 54 countries are poorer. More than 1,200,000,000 human beings in year 2002 were in glaring poverty, and their daily income was less than $1. Many of these people, they were living in the continent of Asia. More than 62 million people are addicted to AIDS. And if we are not thinking fast enough to find a solution, their number will reach over 100 million. Glaring poverty. It is the breaching of the human rights, rights to nutrition, rights to housing, rights to health care and education. It is not only one of the main rights of the human being, and it entitles other rights, freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, and being able to have a just trial. And otherwise they are going to lose their meaning, and we are going to be changed to a theoretical and abstract meaning. But in my opinion, the gross poverty, it is something that we can get rid of it, and what observing the human being, otherwise it will be vanished from the vast world that we are living in. But correcting the world institutions, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and United Nations Security Council, and mostly are observing the democracy. There is the present vast difference between those who have and those who have not. It will be reduced, diminished. We have to pay attention to the rights of the economic rights and the social rights, and observing these rights, and we put these rights in a large part of the planning for the world development, and we have to end the punishment, immunity for punishment, and those who are breaking the human rights and creating the social disasters and multinational corporations and those corporations that are operating beyond the borders. They have to be responsible for their actions. Women, they are the first victims of the poverty because they are victims of the discrimination right and discrimination of the social discrimination. And the man-dominating world, they have to hand fight with this culture that not only the man and woman that are deprived from the rights come out of that deprivation. In our country, Iran, this is the culture that women, even though they have higher educations, are deprived from the important political and social status. 63% of the university students in Iran, girls are girls. However, the unemployment level in women is 3 times of men, and it is reported such. The discriminatory laws against the women and criminal laws that they have value of the woman's life is half of the man's life and is considered such, and the testimony of 2 women are equal to testimony of 1 man, and many other inequalities is imposed on women. The men, women and children are the first victims of a war. According to the Office of the United Nations Development Plan, UNDP, in year 2002, more than 50 countries were victims of wars and exposed to the natural disaster. In these wars, 90% of the victims were non-military men, and the principles of the human rights and humanity were stumped, and the injustice is being spread. I am taking this opportunity, and the terrorist acts which has been after September 11 has been around the world, took many victims. I am condemning it. And the special procedures and regulations that is installed in some countries, having pretext of fighting with terrorists, also have employed it, and also I am objecting. Fighting with terrorism, it is necessary, and it has is legal legitimacy. However, it has to be in the context of the legal. Unfortunately, some of the countries having a pretext of fighting with terrorism, they have breached human rights. And in this situation and condition, that in many countries, the issue of lack of security has been enlarged more than it is required. Those who are fighting for human rights has been very difficult compared to past. And those who are defending human rights, they are taking and bearing all the intimidations, even losing their lives fighting against the human rights, for human rights. Myself and many other Mr. Dadkha, Saif Sadeh, Sultani, in years past we were imprisoned. Dr. Nasser Zarafshan, one of the attorneys were filed for the serial murderer that was charged with as an advocate, and he is in Evin prison, imprisoned. Unfortunately, many of the writers, journalists, and political activists and social activists, and also the university students, and fighting for human rights, they are in prison, and I am at this moment taking the opportunity to ask for the freedom, and I am respecting Muhammad Jafar Goyande, Muhammad Mukhtari, Parvane و Darush Furuhar, and Saidi Sirjani. پروانه و داریوش فروهر، سعید سیرجانی، کریم پور شیرازی و دکتر حسین فاطمی and many other that they have lost their life for freedom.
Democracy and human rights, they are common needs of all human cultures, and respect of human dignity, property, and life in any religion and any culture is something praiseworthy. Violence and terror, humiliation, torture in any society is something indecent. Those who, by the excuse of relative cultures, they do avoid doing the democracy and human rights. They are petrified oppressors who, they have put a mask on culture, and in the name of national culture, they have a intent to avoid their own people's rights. Those who they take small things that has nothing to do with the Islamic religion, and it is in conflict with Islam. And they make that an excuse, and they go to war against it. And they say that the Oriental religion and Oriental Islamic religion are in conflict with West, and their conflict is something unavoidable. These people try to take the deeds of a few people or groups of Muslims, take that as Islam and say that this is Islam. And this is why the Western culture is in conflict with the Oriental culture. And this is something not correct. You can be sure that if someone is killed in the name of Islam, and the name of Islam is misused, each incorrect deed which is done by an individual or a group should not be recorded in the Islamic report card, and it should not be accounted for Islam. Same as the incorrect deeds of a few people in Bosnia should not be accounted as Christianity. Jesus was a prophet and a harbinger of peace. To disregard the numerous resolutions of the United Nations by Israel and the things that have happened in this and is happening in this part of the world should not be counted as something that in the Jewish religion is considered something good. Moses was a harbinger of justice and right. Separate the faults of people from religion and culture. Not only the cultures are not in conflict with one another, but they have a lot of common grounds together too. Let's talk about common things, not talk about deceit. Let's not justify war, because if the war should happen, no one will come out of it proud. Dear colleagues, it's only in peace and serenity which the tree of knowledge bears fruit. Artistic creations will manifest. The vehicle of civilization will go forward. Not every tranquility and silence is lasting. The peace is lasting, which is based on two columns: peace, democracy, and justice. Otherwise, that peace is not peace, and it's not tranquility. It is strangulation. The silence of society those who make people quiet by jails and bullets, they will achieve silence, but that silence of cemetery. Let's not forget that 70 years of former Soviet Union was a silence which is now also present in some of the countries in the world. Let's guard peace and have it holy and have it foremost by justice and democracy. But not democracy. Democracy is not an accident that would happen in one night. Democracy is not a gift which would be given as a gift in a golden tray. Democracy is a historical process which has to go through its evolutionary process. If a country is claiming, let's say that is truthful with what it's claiming, that it intends to support democracy in a country that is dictatorial, the only way is supporting the idealistic support of freedom fighters, freedom-wanting people, and the institution and democratic characters of that country, so that sooner the sapling of democracy will bear the flower of freedom and as a present. Military attacking, even though establishing with good intentions, does not create democracy. It will harm democracy. It will eventually become violence. Because violence creates violence. Violence is contagious. Let's not forget, you cannot export democracy with weapons. You cannot you
حقوق
cannot
بشر بر سر ملتی ریخت.
pour
دموکراسی و حقوق بشر
with cluster bombs
جز با
human
خواست
rights on
مردم
people's heads.
تحقق نمی‌یابد.
Democracy and human rights only with the insight of the people will come about. Those countries which are claiming that they are sympathetic for human rights and democracy, they should do it through the United Nations, and the countries who are aggressive should be forced to respect democracy and human rights. And it's only in that situation that would fight for democracy and freedom finds its legitimacy and can be defended. I take this opportunity to wish once more that as soon as possible the American forces exit Iraq and have that country under the care of the United Nations and the people of Iraq, and pay back the damages done to that country to be
و خسارت وارده و عراق را نیز
and
جبران
the
کند.
damages to Iraq be taken care
آرزو
of. I
می‌کنم
wish
هرچه زودتر
as soon as possible
سربازان آمریکایی
American soldiers, your children,
صحیح و تندرست به
healthy
خانه خود برگردند و آتش
and
جنگ
in
در
good health
خاک
return to their
دنیا
houses
بسته
and
شود.
their abode, and the fire of war in the Middle East would subside.
سوی دیگر
On the other hand,
صلح دو لایه دارد.
peace has two layers, internal and external.
همچون جهانی که
Just
قرار
like
به سر
the
می‌بریم،
world that we are living on, and we are living on. But
از راز و
we are
اعماق
unaware of the secrets of its deeps.
بدون صلح درون
Without
صلح
inner
بیرون
peace,
امکان ندارد.
external peace is impossible. No, about internal peace. Inner peace is the tranquility which is in the shadow of living with goals. People who have not yet found goals for their lives. These are people who do not know what they are doing, and they will not have tranquility at any place, and they will not find themselves anywhere. And this is something that's up to us teachers to help our pupils in this search. Light a light so that they can find the road in front of them. They can find themselves, and while living in happiness, they can be beneficial to others too. And in saying better, in other words, live happily and be beneficial for the society. The society that can do this deed as its goal for its education and educate the youth that even though that they are enjoying the benefits of the life, they would be thinking about the others too, and be working towards peace, so that peace would be from inside us to our family and school, and eventually it would go to this society. Peace starts from the school, and it would pour in the national situations, and it'll become international. This is the way it is, that teachers and professors, as columns of peace, act in the national and international venues. Connection between the educational institutions worldwide is always something that will take the peace forward. Exchanging of students and professors, translating books and languages, making schools and making internet universities, having international courses. These are large, great helps that will manifest connections between countries. The countries who are technically advanced, they should generously put their information in the hands of the students. The worst kind of education is envy. After this, which has become widespread now, after this incident of 11th of September, some of the fields of study, new and higher technical fields, they are no longer available to the students from the countries of the South. And the universities have notified the students that as soon as they finish their term, they should change their field of study. Another one of the Western countries, even though they have not officially announced any limitations, but in fact they don't give acceptance to students from the countries of the South to come and study in the fields of higher technology. If we consider the world as a global village, we must all, in all of its benefits, including education, share. You cannot claim internationalism and separate some of the people of the world from education. Be giving like the sky. The tree of the knowledge should be more fruitful like the earth. Spread the friendship like wind. Be upset and burning to ignorance and prejudice like fire. Be human, be kind, be loving. I'm grateful.
خانم شیرین عبادی، لطفاً برایمان از مبارزه زنان در ایران بعد از انقلاب علیرغم همه فشارها توضیح دهید و شخصاً معذرت بخواهید از رفتار غیر متمدنانه ازتون.
هموطنان عزیزم، دوستان گرامی، قبل از اینکه
Dear friends, isn't it better to disregard my answers because you are being believe it, this is a prize for peace, not war. Mrs. Shirazi, you are the head of all the Iranian women. If you permit me, I will answer to the question. If you do not like it, okay. Concerning the struggle, bravery struggle of the Iranian women to obtain their rights, the number of the educated girls, fortunately in Iran, on the basis of the sociology base, it has increased. 63% of the university students are girls. In the same time, a woman that goes to university and a woman that works understands the discrimination, and it gets annoyed and upset. And for that reason, the feminist movement in Iran today, it has a depth and it has a vast arena. Please permit me. At the beginning of the revolution, for example, 59, 60, and Ms. Merhangis, yes, Ms. Merhangis and myself, we were one of those people that we had we dared to go against the discriminatory regulations and fight for it. And of course, she was more brave than I was, and I was writing some articles. However, we did not have any feedback. Our work didn't have any feedback because women were against it. The traditional women were against what we were saying. And gradually the education created an insight and informed them that they started to understand most of our words, and even the women that belong to the traditional family, they were saying the same thing. And in my opinion, this has been very productive to us. All the women of a country, those that a little bit were modern, and even they belong to the family of the traditional families, they have some type of objection against their life, and it is very pleasant to see that women have lined up and they are fighting for the rights of the women, and the lines of that struggle is being broadened.
I promised that we'd only ask easy questions, so I'm going to continue with one that may be on the minds of many people. It certainly was of at least one of our questioners, which is, in your opinion, what is the appropriate role for foreign powers in political change in countries such as Iran and Iraq?
از نظر شما نقش مؤثر قدرت‌های خارجی در مقابل حکومت‌هایی مثل ایران و عراق چیست؟
من در سخنرانی هم
In my speech, I have mentioned about this. The United Nations for this issue has been established from one end. The world governments, any way that they want, and they should not work against the rights of their people. And the big and powerful countries bringing excuses such as democracy and human rights, they should not attack other countries. The United Nations for this issue has been established. You remember when Iraq attacked Kuwait, the issue was entertained in United Nations, and with the Security Council for freeing the Kuwait, actions were taken. However, concerning the Iraq, this incident did not occur. And in spite of the objection of the United Nations and the Security Council, they attacked. After the fall of the Saddam, it was obvious nobody was sad. However, this struggle should have worked out through the United Nations. I personally wish that Saddam to be overthrown by the Iraqi people. Next question. My question is the following, that I am, like you, accept that all the religion, they are the source of the democracy. Is it possible to change both?
I think this question follows on from the last, which is to ask people in the United States and elsewhere in the West are being bombarded with terms radical Islam, moderate Islam, the Muslim world, the Arab street. Do you have any advice for Westerners on how they should understand and think about Muslim society, Muslim religions, Islam in the world?
The mass media in the United States, they have been using the radical Islamic, and are using the Islam many times, and concerning the Muslim people, such sentences are being used. You think that the Western societies concerning this issue, what idea do you have? Permit me, I answer with a larger, bigger question. What is censorship? One kind of censorship is that the governments directly are applying. I mean, the government says that you do not have to write such an article and the other article to be written. Such censorship, I don't think that exists in the United States. However, I am forced to mention another point. The large mass media in the United States, it is belong to one or two group, and they have their own wantings. And from such way, they are the channeling and directing the public opinion. I will take you back a little bit. After the incident of the September, all the newspaper, radio, television, they were aggrandizement, the one issue for other people, and the envelopes that they were supposed to mail with containing the microbes. And everybody were afraid of it, frightened. And we were talking to the Americans. They were any channel that you would turn on, they would see the people with had gloves and uniform and mask, and they were talking about some type of microbes. And about 25 days this story lasted, and there has some impact with the American citizenship. And any package that would arrive, of course, a lot of things is happening through mail and post here, and they were afraid to open to see what it would happen. Anyhow, it was the anthrax microbe, and this was the directing, kind of directing the public opinion, so they can attack later on to the Afghanistan. At the present time, another incident I feel that God forbid would happen, and Islamic terrorism has been used many times. There is no question that fighting against Islamic terrorism, there is no problem with that. However, Islamic terrorism, what does it mean that are using so much? Look, the mistakes that people have committed, separate from their civilization, religious civilization. Permit me, I will repeat, my friends, the whatever has happened, even though the person was Muslim, but do not consider that there was Islam had done. Do not create war between the civilizations. War between the civilization, it's something that will take the world to the war, and talk about the cooperation of the civilization. Do not blacken the Islam, and do not show Islam as something black and bad. Mrs. Ebadi, the last question we'll ask from you concerning Iranian laws. What is it for you that you can without chador, without Islamic cover, to participate in the outside the Iran? Well, again, this question, permit me to repeat it again. According to the Islamic criminal law that is governing in Iran, the chador, Islamic cover, it is for all the women that are in Iran to be Islam, to be non-Islam people, to be Iranian and non-Islam, it is required. And I'm an attorney, and I work in Tehran in respecting this law. Whenever I am in Iran, in Tehran, I use that chador, and since the circle and influence of the government criminal laws, it is limited to a country, to the borders of a country, and the criminal regulations of the country does not have any power beyond the country's borders. When I am out of the country of Iran, I am not wearing it.
Again, I'd like to thank you all the vast majority of you for your forbearance. And of course, I would like to thank above all Shirin Ebadi for being with us this afternoon. Thank you, everybody.